I'm really excited to have my next guest on the podcast. He's the general manager director at Lafarge Canada. Welcome to the podcast, Richard Hiscox.
Thanks for having me, Joel. I'm excited to be on your show today.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Let's just jump right into it. Perhaps you could tell the listeners who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Richard Hiscox. I do work at Lafarge. Our parent company is Holcim. I'm the general manager of our Southern Precast division. So we build parkades, we build warehouses, we build precast slabs for bridges. And then I'm a general manager of our Lafarge Asphalt Technology Group. We buy oil from Imperial Exxon. We blend it and sell it across Western Canada to internal groups, or internal construction groups, and external to make asphalt. And then director of construction for Western Canada. So I get involved in some of our major projects, and I also support our groups if they're having any difficulties, and kind of support the North American estimating group as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I'd love to, and I'm sure the listeners would love to know how you got to where you are today.
So I started at a very young age in construction. So I was 15 years old, and my girlfriend's dad at the time back at Thunder Bay owned the construction company. So he kind of mentored me into it, and I worked on crushers and asphalt plants and pavers and all kinds of construction equipment. And went to school, took engineering and business and finance degree, and got out of school and decided to go the construction route. And worked from sort of the larger companies, so Peter Kiewit in Toronto, and then PCL in Calgary, as well as Canada. SNC Lavalin, building the Southeast Ring Road here in Calgary. And finally, 8 years ago, I came to Lafarge and started as a GM of our construction group in the Calgary area.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I mean, you have so much construction experience. I'd love to get your perspective on how you think, at least from your perspective, how Calgary has changed since you first started today.
Yeah, when I got here in 2008, I was young, and a lot of us came from Thunder Bay, a bunch of us engineers, and it was growing. I've seen a lot of the construction go. The ring road's been built, and a lot of the high rises have been built. So I think it's going well, and I think with there's lots of opportunity. There's high wages. There's low income tax, and it's affordable to live here. So I think the future is bright as well for comparable to say Vancouver and Toronto. So I like our future as well.
You and I both. Calgary's the place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. In terms of, again, kind of going back to your origin story, I like to call it. What sort of things would you say has led you to become successful in your endeavors?
I definitely had a lot of mentoring. Like I kind of touched on the fellow that I worked for in Thunder Bay. He helped me lots and really put a lot of time into me. And then he had a friend who owned an engineering company and was a professor, so he put some time into me. So mentoring was a big thing, and then my education really helped me succeed and get into it. And then through there, I've met a lot of people that I'm close friends with that we sit down and we discuss shop talk, we talk construction, and through osmosis and learning, you just learn from them. And if you have a tough question, they're there to answer it for you. So I'm never short of knowing someone. I may not have the answer, but I know the person that does have the answer for sure.
I love that. That's one of the things I've learned about leadership is that if you don't have the answer, you could always delegate to somebody that does. And you're always as strong as the people you surround yourself with. So that's awesome to hear that you've had some really strong mentors in your path.
Yeah.
In terms of challenges and failures, I always say that there's learning opportunities and challenges. So I'm just curious, what sort of challenges have you faced within the construction industry or your career in general?
Yeah, so I've had two definitely big challenges, and probably I would agree with failures as well. So early in my career in 2000, I was working for that fellow. We went through a receivership. So we overstretched ourselves. We had too much work. We couldn't execute, and it was a tough year. And I learned that business is business, and some of the friends you thought you were friends with maybe weren't totally your friends. So that was a great experience growing up and really learning the truth about business. And then the second was when we were building the Southeast Ring Road here. When I was on it, we lost $150 million. So it just really, when you're doing an estimate and when you're executing, you really got to make sure you got it right and you have the experience and you've got the right numbers because if you don't, you can't really make it up. And it's just tough. It's definitely tough jobs, but I definitely learned lots from both of them. The failures are probably my biggest learning experience have been my failures for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for my challenges and failures, those have definitely been the most eye opening or opportunities to learn for sure. Going back, just perhaps just for listeners, what's maybe the biggest thing Lafarge does that people don't know about?
So I guess there's two things for me to touch on. A lot of people think of Lafarge actually as a cement company. We are the biggest cement company in the world, but in Western Canada, people know of our construction arm, but I don't think worldwide they do. And then in the United States, we're really getting into building envelope and roofing companies and really diversifying. So I would say those two things. And then I'm not sure people are aware of how much we're pushing for a circular economy. So reuse, recycle. I'm really worried about the environmental footprint. So we're very progressive. We are now based out of Switzerland, so I think that's helping push the lead for it. But yeah, I think those are two things that people may not know we do as much as we do.
Well, that's awesome. I definitely did not know about the environmental footprint aspect of things. That's really neat to hear. In terms of,
Very, very progressive for sure in that regard.
love it. Another question I love to ask my guests on the podcast is, what's maybe something that you never get asked that you wish you would be asked?
So I guess with having a lot of friends in the construction industry and Lafarge being probably more a materials company with a construction arm, I don't get asked too often the differences between the two. So, and what I like and what I don't like. So I guess the construction part of it, I definitely like the execution and a bit of the engineering. In the Lafarge materials side, we do a bit more strategy. We definitely do more innovation, more business development, and more. I guess there's more business dynamics to it, where construction is a bit more of just execution engineering. But there's just a difference in what I like and what I don't like. And I do like both areas for sure, and do both those areas today in my work.
That's awesome. I only have a few more questions here for you. What's maybe something that you're really curious about right now? Maybe something that's top of mind within your work, or could even be personally.
Um, I guess curious for us is we're doing 3D printing. So in Africa, we built some low income houses through 3D printers with a 70% reduction in carbon footprint. So more or less, you just put the concrete in the machine with an AutoCAD drawing, and it prints the house. So it's just really the technology and innovation. Definitely curious and excited to see where it goes. And we haven't touched on as much at our company, but autonomous vehicles and autonomous equipment. So your dump truck runs itself and just things like that. So technology and innovation for sure.
Well, that's great. I mean, yeah, technology is very pervasive in society, and I could see it also impacting the construction industry, like you're saying, with autonomous vehicles and 3D printing. That's really neat to hear.
Yeah.
One of my last few questions: what's something that you're proud of that we haven't touched on in the interview so far?
I guess two areas. Just I guess professionally, where I'm proud of is once we went through that receiver ship, we got our stuff together, and we did turn the company around, and we ended up packaging it out and sold it out for a good amount of money and a 7-year non-competition clause. So, it was a failure that turned into a success. So that's always good. And then at Lafarge, I took over the precast division, and we lost a significant amount of money, and we had some serious injuries. A fellow almost died. And this year, I'm proud to say that we're going to make some money, be profitable, and we haven't had one serious injury all year. So anytime you combine financial results and health, it's a good thing for sure, and I'm proud of it.
Absolutely. You kind of touched on my next question, but perhaps might have a different answer. But what's something professionally or personally? What does success look like to you?
Success looks to me for I guess if we're talking work, it's just having a successful team. I guess start with that is where people are engaged with their work. They're doing what they want to do. I believe people excel in things that they're good at and want to do. So it's really engaging and having a diverse team where you get a lot of different answers and you really brainstorm to come up with the best idea. And then hitting our goals as a company. I'm loyal to my company for sure, and I want to hit our financial targets, our safety targets, our innovation, and environmental. So I'm just really combining that is having a strong team that's happy with their work with positive results for the company.
Awesome. Where can our listeners connect with you online if they want to reach out?
Yeah, I am definitely my platform for that would be LinkedIn. I'm on there almost daily and enjoy it. I have my comments and like to review other people's comments and ideas. And then I'm on Instagram, but that's more a private social thing for me.
Awesome. I'll let our listeners reach out to you on LinkedIn then. I'll leave the links in the podcast show notes, so guys go reach out. Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, Richard. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I have one last question for you to end the interview. My last question to you is, what does being a leader or leadership mean to you?
Yeah, great question, and that's probably the most important thing I do every day is try to be a leader and be the best leader I can. So leadership to me is, set the example, make sure you have clear goals, and try to treat everyone or the same as much as you can, although people are a bit different. Give empathy when it's needed, and be strong other times, and definitely give people the opportunity to succeed and responsibility. Even if they fail, that's okay. I think you learn from your failures, but it's really giving people a chance to see where they could go and how good they really are. Hi, I'm Richard Hiscox, and you're listening to Joe Momoh Presents.
Thanks again for watching the Joe Momoh Presents podcast. For more episodes, check out joemomoh.com/podcasts. All right, see you next time.